Hello everybody, welcome back to Witch in the Woods, where I'm sat here today with, I don't know what to call him, but I'm just gonna call him General Zombie. And I've got my, my new onesie on. I actually figured out exactly what this thing does, and it gives me passive hunger regeneration. So, you know, that's nice. So, there's been a bit of a few things going on. Let me just get out of F5, there we go. So, did a fair bit of renovating. Evidently the texture on the precision sawmill is a bit wonky, but that's fine. And I managed to get this farm semi-automated. We're going to work on that a bit more today. And I actually have a checklist here, so that I can make sure I talk about all of this. So, the first thing I need to talk about is magic crops, because we're going to be using that quite a bit. Now, first thing I need to address is a lot of people call this mod overpowered. It definitely was originally, but to make the different tiers of seeds, you need progressively greater amounts of essence, which is why, at the back here, it is all essence crop. Because, good god. Slight bit of disclosure, we did have to roll back the server a fair bit, legitimately to before my first episode was recorded. So I have had to fast forward, cheat in creative mode of a few things, that kind of thing, just to catch up. I did go back to the zombie dungeon and raid every living thing there that wasn't about bees, so I am back on that, perfectly fine, which is why I've got my bloodied onesie again. It's my understanding that Parv is doing a similar thing on that, but, you know, otherwise call the cheat police, because I'm sure they'll be very, very effective. So, basically, magic crops allows you to make seeds for various things. So we've got ender crop here, we've got glowstone crop there, skeleton crop here, we've got dyes, and we've got essence itself. We also had a few more, so I've got some redstone, some coal, and some nature, which is sort of just generic plant life kind of things you make with that. And back here, I've just got the kind of feeding out, so dye essence, glowstone, skeleton, ender, essence itself. And my chunk loader means that this is actually going to be working all of the time, provided we can get the system running. So, let's see, if I just bring this up. Okay, so you make the different seeds, and you first get essence itself from ores. You can find some essence ore in your environment, which looks... let's see if I can find it in AI here. That's never essence ore. There's essence ore. Okay, so it's just like green splotches in stone, basically. So you find the essence dust, and you then proceed to make various seeds. Now, the seeds that you can make, let me see, if we just look at something bog standard, coal seeds. The first ones I made. So, for coal, that is the general pattern. You need 4 of the thing you're trying to grow in a crop, and 4 of a kind of essence and just regular seeds. Now, weak essence, really easy to make. You just put essence dust itself around a weak infusion stone, which is just itself a diamond surrounded by essence dust. Very cheap, makes sense. But there are different tiers of seeds. So if I go to, let's see, gold seeds. Gold seeds require strong essence. Strong essence is made using a strong infusion stone with regular essence. Regular essence is made from 4 weak essence around a regular infusion stone, and a regular infusion stone requires 8 of a given tier of essence around the existing infusion stone. That doesn't actually use up the stone, by the way, which is why I've got 4 of them. But they get progressively higher up, and since you need 4 essence dust per weak essence, and then 4 weak essence to make a regular essence, 4 regular to make a strong, so on and so forth, it magnifies as you go up, to the point that to make some essence, some seeds, you're going to need stacks of essence dust. Now, very occasionally you'll get a weak essence as like a rare drop from plucking up the plants, but you don't get regular essence, you don't get strong or extreme, that kind of thing. So, that is where this mod becomes extremely balanced, especially considering the fact that these crops, the higher up they go, the less likely they are to give you a second seed as they are plucked. So you'll generally just get the 1. Which is why this chunk loader on a server comes in handy. If you're doing this in single player, you're more or less screwed, I'm afraid. But, yeah. I don't know if the time torch from Dartcraft affects these things. I haven't tried it yet. Probably won't anyways. But the ender crop is the one we're mostly interested in, because, as its name implies, we can use it to make ender pearls. So 8 crates, 4 ender pearls. Lower tier things tend to go 8 makes even more than 8 of the thing you're trying to make, but either way. We can also use it to make end portal frame. Think of that. You can't actually pick this up once it's placed, so there is an alert on that. We can also make end stone, and then we can make a whole bunch of infused blocks. So that gives some kinds of essence for infusing the blocks, gives them different effects. So glowstone, you can infuse like stone with glowstone, which makes it illuminate. You can also make things infused with obsidian, which makes them blast resistant, that kind of thing. I don't know if we'll use that very much, but I imagine there's probably also a few of you wondering exactly what the hell is going on here, because it looks sort of like an X-ray. What's happening here is that this isn't actually, if you can see the particles, that's not actually stone, that's camouflage, from the ICBM mod, which would have been glorious to have, like, last time. So if I bring it up, okay, there it is. Camouflage, so it's just vines, which I can get from the nature essence, and it's yellow, well, 4 of any kind of wool, which I can get from my cotton, which is also growing back there, and that makes 12 of them. Now, once you have that, it only comes in, like, static green, but you can right-click it with any block, more or less, to make it resemble that block, as we can see on the other side here, and then if you hit it on a side with a wrench, it makes that side transparent like glass, and if you shift right-click, you can even disable the collision. So I can just sort of chill out down here, and yeah, that's what it looks like. It just looks like I'm in the wall here. So, hey, chilling out. What are you gonna do? In my bloodied onesie. So let's see. That is magic crops, and it has a lot of mod compatibility. So we can grow Certus quartz, we can grow force, all that sort of thing. We're definitely going to be growing with Certus quartz because we're going to need quite a fair bit of that, I should think. So, all done. So now we need to talk about what's wrong with this farm. So under here, I have a planter, and I have a harvester. They've both got a tin upgrade so that they can reach this whole area, this sort of 9x9 area. And they are being powered, both of them, by one culinary generator, which is taking up some of the potatoes, and creating, if the server will wait for me to actually get into here, any moment now, there we go, which is taking some of the potatoes, baking them, and then we are finally controlling how they're going into the actual culinary generator. So this hopper only holds 1 stack of baked potatoes, and whenever this is finally out of power, this finally stops powering the hopper here, so it finally gets another baked potato to transit in. The hopper there is just serving as a limiter, basically. So things only transit, and they will transit fairly slowly by hopper standards. So that just makes sure that we very finely control, so that we are only storing like only burning a minimum, and only when we actually absolutely need it. But the problem we're having is that potatoes grow really quickly. Now, you'll notice there's a lot of stacks of glowstone and what stuff in here. Again, that's because I had to cheat stuff in, and I don't know how many I started with, and I just know I had enough. So, sorry, but it's slightly irrelevant because we're still only growing it by 9x9, it still takes ages. And I didn't cheat the essence in, so yeah. So what we need to do is set up a means of ensuring that this planter only has, say, 9 of a given type of seed. Here comes some nice seeds, I think. Yep, there we go. 9 of a given type of seed that we're interested in. And then we can more or less just void anything else that doesn't end up either in one of these barrels or inside this chest, which is looking lovely, I have to say. Enjoying that over a stack of ender essence. Think how much ender pearl that is. Jeez. So we're going to be using a thing called... I swear I just heard something like take damage there. That was interesting. We're going to be using a thing called an item translocator. Specifically, we're going to use it on a regulator, which is a whole other shtick. And fairly simple. It's just iron, gold, 4 redstone, and ender pearl, which we can make now, and a piston. Our old friend, the piston. I did lose a lot of resources, because it turns out, that this well is actually, like, surrounded by a huge cave system now. Like, huge. Like, in one way there is a huge cave system, another direction it hits the zombie dungeon, and another direction directly above us, actually, on this level, is, believe it or not, an abandoned mine shaft. Like, I hit jackpot with where this place managed to pop up. Let me see. Iron. I'm going to need at least 2... Well, I'm going to need at least 3 iron, so... Just bleh. And then we need some logs for the piston. And I do have a crafting table here, but we'll use the clipboard. This is from Dartcraft. I usually prefer to have the factorization equivalent, the pocket crafting table. But this has its own internal inventory, so if I, let's see, if I just stick the iron in here, close it, I can wander around, it's still there, so it's like 9 extra inventory slots if I'm feeling desperate, so I don't have to keep these free at the end here off. Which, yeah, I will grant that's something useful. Which is unusual for Dartcraft, providing something useful. Anyways, enough about that. Okay, ender pearl. And in there, and that gets us 2. They always come in pairs. Now, the first thing we need to note is that you can put these... Well, you have to shift right-click onto most inventories, but beyond that, you can shift them... You can put them more or less up to, like, 6 inside of a block. Like, you can fill an entire block with them if you can actually, like, reach through it properly. So they can share space quite happily. In fact, I can probably share that best up here, so if I put one there... And I'm gonna have to jump there. So yeah, that's an example. And then you'll notice they have these little hitbox here. That's an internal section, so that controls the direction of flow, so we can set it to out. They're currently both out. They will not flow into each other unless they'll only flow into one that's set to in, which we're not going to do because that will destroy most of my sorting here, my organization. And now we need a chest, something to put the stuff in. There are seedlings that are going into there. Doop. Okay, chest. And the last thing we're going to need is to break 1 diamond into diamond nuggets. This is a part of translocator as well. I can see they're part of the same mod. Now, if we recall how the diamond pipes worked, way back when, and also I have like 5 crescent hammers now, jeez. If we recall how diamond pipes worked way back when, in like the days of Tekkit, they functioned as a sort of a sorter. For a translocator, they're more or less the same, except that they allow us to regulate. So if we take out some glowstone seeds, some ender seeds, evidently my UI is a little offset here. Some essence seeds, and some skeleton seeds, and let's also grab the dye seeds before I forget those exist. Okay, so, regulate. Now if I click on this one just has a filter, so this will only drag out certain things, but if we have the diamond nugget on it, we can regulate them. So, we want to make sure that there are 9 of a given seedling inside of here at all times. So, let's see. Yep, hang on. There. It's been giving me a bit of chip. Okay. And we'll do that with the ender seeds as well. And we'll do that, well, we need, let's see, it's 9, plus there's a row of cotton, so it's actually 6 on that side, so that's actually 15 potatoes that we need in here. And there's whole rows. Oh boy. 8, 16, 24. Quickly, math. Okay, so this will now ensure, no matter what is in here, that we only get the things we're interested in there. We do quickly need to apply this pneumatic servo so that we can tell it stop receiving non-seedlings, because we're not interested in getting those into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, okay. Because, yeah, they just came down here, and they shouldn't be. We got cotton in here we shouldn't have now. Just go chuck those where those should be. And you there. Okay. So, now, if we take everything out of here, and shove it in here. Whoop, not the nuggets. Although the nuggets can serve as a nice little identifier to show us this is actually working and not just being fortunate. If we right-click here, there's a little animation, it's outputting, and it's stopped. And everything is in here in the proper numbers. So 24 of those, 9, 9, 15, 24, 9, 9, 9, 15. It's obviously planted a few ender seeds. Oh, and I missed some, so there we go. Perfect. So now we just fill this up, so that it doesn't end up getting absolutely stocked full of potatoes again. Which we can more or less just do with wood. We have a whole ton. And we're going to have even more, because I haven't managed to find any actual rubber trees, and we need plastic to make various Mine Factory loaded stuff. So we're going to just, just use sticks. Not buttons, actually sticks. There. And this is just to occupy space, basically. You just want to make sure that there's only so many of a given thing in here. And list, diamond nuggets, still perfectly fine. So, let's leave only a stack, or a single stacking, of a given thing in here. Let's see, what do we have a vibe? Yes. Okay, that's perfect. And then we shall just distribute this here. These aren't filtered to come in, and they're not being drawn out, so they'll always stick around. And since these are always going to be more than what the regulator is looking at, we shouldn't have to worry about that ever again. So now I can be absolutely certain that this is actually going to work. The next thing I kind of probably want to do is have a trash can over here, so they can get rid of excess potatoes, because potatoes come out very a lot. I could probably run the place on potatoes already. So, that is the next thing on our list done. Regulate the farm. So the anti-death machine is our next subject, which is last time I told you that my first job was to avoid dying under any circumstances. We're going to be doing that, more or less, in the exact same way that we just regulated this farm, using the item translocators. Because as we say, we can regulate them. We know we can make sure that there is always, like, one of a certain thing in a container. So we're going to use that, combined with a bit of applied energistics auto-crafting using a Mac, which I might just name Newton, because it's been a while since we saw Newton. To automatically craft death protection puppets that are tag-locked to me. I have a system already put together in a creative test world for automatically getting a whole ton of tag locks from me, so that should be perfectly possible. And that will mean, given the fact that a puppet table, a puppet shelf also functions as a junk loader, that the system will always be able to ensure that there is a selection of certain puppets available to my person. Meaning, I can ensure that it automatically crafts new death protection puppets tagged to me to ensure that I never ever die. We are going to have to put a few things on farm status, like for example sand, which we can do easily with a pulverizer and not an accuracy accumulator, a cobble generator machine thingy from Thermal Expansion, the name escapes me. And skeleton soul crop here is so that we can get bones to make tag locks and all sorts. As well as a few different things like bone needles. But suffice to say, we can get that. We can get death protection puppets on farm status. It's especially here, we can automate these witches ovens to produce the various things that we need. So yeah, anti-death. Definitely designed, we'll be working on that over the next few episodes. Homework review! So, last time, I told you to go and watch the movie Aliens vs. Predator 2. I told you ahead of time this was a bad movie. Like, it's not a good movie. But in terms of showing how the monsters work, the Xenomorph and the Predator, I think it did fairly well. Definitely the effects for the Xenomorphs were better than Aliens 3, and definitely better than Aliens 4, where they started to become CGI. But the characters, terrible, no, pay no attention, be happy when they get sliced in half by, like, basically a frisbee. But the monsters, well done. Like, we definitely... The Predator and the Xenomorph are similar in the fact that neither of them talk, but we know that they have some degree of language, we know that they're capable of communication. That was portrayed very well, I think. So, props to AVP2 for portraying your monsters. Wish you could have done better portraying your actual human characters that we're supposed to care about. Terrible. So, that is that. And that leaves us with our assignment for this week. Well, maybe not this week. I would have gotten a new episode out sooner, but we had the server issues. So, yep. There we go. So, our movie for you guys to go off and watch on your own and all sorts in your own time. Give me an idea on it. This time, I gave you a bad movie last time. I'm giving you a good one this time. This is The Machinist. Or The Machinist, depending on how you want to pronounce it. This is a 2004 movie starring Christian Bale. It is one of his most lauded movies. It is like one of his most legendary performances. It is really good. And the theme for this particular movie is the creature that isn't there. It is a creature that you can, like... This is slight spoilers. It's something that's in your head. It is a movie all about the kind of things that your brain can do to torture you by itself. So, go and watch that. It is a good movie. You will enjoy it, or you'll be terrified of it. But hey, if you're terrified of it, then it's an effective horror movie. So, que sera. And with that, I shall catch you all next time.